Welcome to the Genius Talk podcast. I'm your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, and today we have Chris Abdey with us. Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So, for our listeners who don't know you, can you tell them who you are and what do you do?
Yeah, my name is Chris Abdey, and I am a procrastination coach. So essentially, I help people to get the things done that they need to or want to get done, but can't seem to be able to.
Hmm. So, what inspired you to become a procrastination coach? Like, can you share a personal story where that something happened and that inspired you to do that?
I certainly can. I think really where it comes down to is my own backstory too, because procrastination kind of worked for me until it didn't. So the fun part of this story is that back in high school, we had 2 years to do 12 art projects, and I did them all in the span of about 6 to 8 hours. The Sunday night, the Monday before, we had a very public art exhibition as our final exam. And really my only saving grace there was the proctor and the local paper was there, and the proctor didn't know who I was. Neither did my art teacher because I never went to class. But that's beside the point, right? He honed in on, he's like, "This is very reminiscent of pathetic art." Well, yeah, because, I did it in my garage and, I just took whatever I had, bottles, cans, spray paint, duct tape, caution tape. And I'm sitting here thinking in my mind, if all I had was a banana peel and some garbage, that's what you'd be looking at. But then I thought, wait, and I said, no, you're absolutely right. I had that stroke of genius in that moment, right? Said, you're absolutely right. It is pathetic art because in today's society, we are all striving for perfection. Therefore, does that not make perfection the new mediocrity? And just like that, I got the same grade as the guy who, he worked every single day for those 2 years. He got extra art classes. He got support from some very famous artists at the time. And he wound up getting the same grade as I did. So I kind of left high school with like a minor kind of God complex in that sense, saying that, well, I can leave it to the last second, just get it done, right? The second part of that is I kind of did the same with my biology. So we had to do 8 labs, and a lab could be between 3 weeks to, I guess, the longest was, I guess, 8 months or something. Of course, I didn't do so, and I wasn't aware that they were worth that much of my grade. So 2 weeks before graduation, and we had to submit these papers to, the International Baccalaureate Organization. My biology teacher comes in and says, "Mr. Abdi, you've got 2 weeks left. What do you intend to do?" To be fair, what answer do you really expect, right? I haven't done the work. The fastest I could do the work would be 3 months or 3 weeks times eight, right? Be the absolute shortest amount of time. So it'd be like 24 weeks at best, right? So, like, in my defense, what did she expect me to say? Oh, I don't know what came over me. I looked outside. There was this nice big courtyard, this tree. The birds were singing. There's a nice breeze. Sun was shining. One little cloud in the sky. So I took a deep breath and I look her back in the eye and I say, "Pray." And so and then everybody in the classroom just did that standardized "ooh," and like, okay. So she storms out of the room, and we're in this tiny office, and we had the owners of the school, we had the director of the school, we had the director of the IB program for the country there, we had my parents, then we had the principal, and then we had the biology teachers. There's like 9 of us sitting in that tiny little room, right? And they're like, "Well, what are we gonna do about this?" And the ultimate answer was, "We're going to let you copy off the smartest kid in the class because we cannot have a failure rate because our claim to fame is 100% success rate." And so they let me copy off of, drum roll please, the same kid who I just beat out. Well, I didn't beat him. I got the same grade as him in the art class, right? And so that gave me my second falsehood, leading me into adulthood. Was the God complex part is, oh, I can leave to the last second, and I pull a rabbit out of my hat if I need to. The second part of that is, oh, if it's really that important, and I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it anyway. So it really went like that. But obviously, that does not translate well to the world of business. In one of my earliest project management days, I was working with a company where we had contracts with Walmart Latin America, Universal Studios, Disney for software applications and tracking logistics and things. And what wound up happening was I was out of my depth. I talked my way into a pretty good position, and I knew the guy, and he knew of me. He hired me as a favor to a family friend or whatever. And obviously, things started to compound. So project A became overdue. I'm just like, oh, okay, that's fine. Project B starts sliding into it. And so I had to take assets from project B into project A to try to push it through. The issue is now project A is 2 weeks overdue, project B is now due, project C is now 2 weeks from being due. And so what wound up happening is project C slammed into project B, and so I had to take assets from project C into project A and B to try and make everything work. Long story short, $1.5 million in damages later, I was let go. So obviously, we really can't be doing that, right? The sort of other side to the procrastination that is not such a fun one is procrastination robbed me of my last conversation with my mother. So we knew she was sick. We knew she was dying. She was on hospice for 2 years. And, they told us that she didn't have very long. And I could always be busy with work. I could always find other things to put in my calendar to do besides go and see her, right? And just being honest is because I couldn't handle that situation. I didn't want to be uncomfortable in that situation, right? And so I, shuffled it around and hemmed and hawed for 2 weeks, right? And the Monday, I cleared off the Monday. It was a Friday. I cleared off the Monday. I said, okay, I'm going on a Monday. I'm going to make a whole day of it. Gonna really sit down and have those talks or whatever. And depending on how you look at it, she passed away either very, very early the Monday morning or very, very late the Sunday evening before I went to go see her. Literally like a matter of hours. I think I missed her by like 6 hours or something like that. And so that tells me that, you know, I just put it off because I was gonna be uncomfortable, and then I just didn't get to talk to her, have that last conversation, right? And that's sort of the other reason I really get into it, because I know that procrastination robs us of many things, conversations, ideas, projects, but it also robs everybody else because your dream or your vision might be something that helps somebody else too. You don't know that. And so we could actually be robbing other people of things and not just ourselves.
So, what do you think? What are some of the most common misconceptions people have about procrastination?
So, one of the biggest misconceptions about procrastination is that you're lazy, and you're not lazy. You're not lazy, you're not broken. You are operating on programming that you received between the ages of 0 and 12 to help you navigate life and help keep you safe. I mean, procrastination at its core really is just a misplaced kind of defense mechanism. The other really big one on procrastination is a lot of people say, just do it, you know, just do it. Well, okay. I mean, if that actually worked, I think Nike would have a lot more money because their slogan is just do it.
Yeah, yeah. So, what practical advice or daily habits do you recommend for overcoming procrastination or building momentum to beat procrastination?
So I usually recommend three things that are good practice for just about everybody because everybody is different, right? So really the key to overcoming procrastination is to understand it first. So you need to understand what it is about the thing that you're avoiding. What is it that's causing the resistance? Because it's never the whole thing. There was one individual who said he didn't like mopping, right? It wasn't the actual mopping that bothered him. It was one specific step in that task that was bothering him, which was he didn't like having to mix the chemicals together, right? The soap into the bucket or whatever reason he
Mhm.
didn't like it. So if we can identify those areas, we can make these tasks easier. So there's three activities that you can do. And the first one is to notice when you start to put something off. And then you say, notice that say you're picking up your phone to look at Facebook. The question to ask yourself is, okay, what is Facebook going to give me right now that doing this other task is not going to give? Because then you're looking at it from a perspective of, okay, there's something that I need or something that I would prefer to have rather than doing this task, right? And normally that's just like, oh, maybe I want to relax. Maybe I don't want to think about it. Maybe I don't want to do this. But to understand what the motivation is behind not doing it or doing the other thing instead really helps a lot. And I'll explain why in a moment when I tie it together with the example. The other thing is to break down that task into as tiny steps as possible until you find the resistance. And I can give you a real example from my own life. So I don't go to the gym but I do have an exercise bike and I have a treadmill and I have weights and stuff in my garage. And my daughter gets out of school for the summer. I'm in Canada, so I start making the excuse, oh, I'm going to spend more time with my daughter. I'm going to enjoy the weather because we get 2 warm days a year, right? So I'm going to go enjoy the weather. Both of which were bad excuses because I get up 5 a.m. My daughter doesn't get up at 5 a.m. And like really the exercise takes me what, 45 minutes? 45 minutes to an hour max? Like really am I really gaining anything by not doing it, right? But this is how we talk to ourselves, right? So I gave myself the excuse and then I said I get back to it when she got back into school. So September comes around, she goes back to school. I get back into the routine. And around the end of October, beginning of November, I start to drag my feet. I start to get up a little later. I start to not even want to get out of bed. I start to skip going outside to the garage. And then it gets to the point where the thought of getting up is bothering me so much, and it's because I know that I'm supposed to be doing the exercise in the garage. Like, okay, stop. What's going on here? Let's break it down and figure out where the resistance is. And so I said, okay, getting up at 5 a.m. Not a problem because I'm doing that consistently, right? Doing the exercises? Well, no. I mean, again, I don't do anything super duper strenuous. I'm not a bodybuilder, right? So no, it's not that. Okay. Going out to the garage. Wait a second. There's a little bit of resistance there. Okay, what's going on? Oh, it's cold outside. Therefore, my garage is cold. I don't like being cold. Therefore, I don't want to do it. I said, okay, well, is that it? I can fix that. So I just switched up my routine a little bit to get up at 5, go out to the garage, turn on this. Well, okay, let's be honest. It's a pretty big space heater. And then go back inside and make my post workout shake and then go and do the exercise. And the procrastination went away. Now, why is this important? It's important if you can identify those things that you have resistance to. And this is where compassion is really important too,
Mhm.
because I don't like being cold. That should be fairly obvious, right? I mean, that sounds like something we should be aware of.
Yeah.
But that same excuse was also preventing me from building a snowman with my daughter, putting off going on winter walks, putting off going and seeing the Christmas decorations and the Christmas lights because I don't like being cold. And so by having that click in there, which again should have been pretty obvious, right? Which is why I say we have to have compassion for ourselves. But as soon as I fixed the procrastination with the exercise, it made me realize that I could fix it in every other instance where that was the reason of my procrastination.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, who are your ideal clients? Who do you help?
So primarily, I do focus on small business owners who maybe they have systems and they have things in place and they've had some measure of success, but they're either bored or maybe they're overwhelmed or maybe they don't know how to do something. So when we're procrastinating in that sense, it's usually one of three things, right? It's not the right thing for you. It's not the right time for you, or it's not the right way for you, right? So if we can identify those, then we can help you actually do the things in your business and help you to stay accountable to what you need to do.
Okay, can you talk about some of your success stories?
But yeah,
No,
certainly.
talk about one of your favorite success story.
Okay, like, do you want one in terms of success? There's different
Like,
definitions of success. You want
like,
monetary? Do you want personal? Or do you want sort of the emotional?
let's talk about resistance toward work.
Okay, so the resistance towards work. I think my biggest success story with that one, or one of them, is I was working with someone who worked in HR, and they were putting off doing these reports, the progress reports, right? Because she said that, and what it came down to is she didn't like doing the reports, and she would put them off because she didn't want to have somebody have one bad day on a report day, and then they would get fired, right? So what we had to do in that sense was we had to say, okay, well, what's your job description? To do the reports? Yes. Okay. So, and everybody can have a bad day. Yes, we know that. So, but is it your decision to hire and fire people? No. Okay. Now, based on your report, are you the one that's going to be making a decision on what that actually means? If they're having a one bad day or not? Are you the one that's making that decision? No. Okay. So, if you're not the one making that decision, then all you're doing is providing information. As long as you're doing that to the best of your ability, the rest isn't really up to you. And just that small little shift of the responsibility, like for the outcome, really changed her perspective and actually allowed her to do her.
Okay, great. So, for our listeners who want to know more about you and want to connect with you or get help from you, where can they go?
The best spot to connect with me is on LinkedIn. I'm the only Chris Abdey on LinkedIn. Or you can go to the website Procrastination Station.
Great. Thank you so much for spending some time with us, Chris. It was really great chatting with you.
It was great chatting with you as well. Thank you so much for having me.